walk it. 21, 25, I didn't give a f.
After pursuing his dreams, Leo Goldenchild has been touted as one to watch in 2019. The Birmingham rapper, actor and motivational speaker has made large strides over the last 12 months, and he sat down to talk about his journey up to this point and how much more he has to come. Leo, thank you for stepping in and talking to me right now. First things first, before I start, I got a plug. Shouts to Chill Citizens on the tracksuit. Make sure you go check them out as well. Leo, thank you very much for stopping by. I appreciate it. How are you, man?
I'm good. Had a morning jog today, so feeling quite fresh.
Looking fresh as well. I was about to say your swag's looking on point. Like, I like it. I like it a lot.
It's just the original stuff. My brother's actual designs as well. My blackjack clothing. My younger brothers. So yeah, man.
And the hat as well. Who's the hat?
This is just normal hat, just from the shelf in my room.
Say no more. But nah. On a serious note, man. How's things with you? I mean, 2018 has been a good year for you, hasn't it? Just talk to us about that.
Yeah, it's been an interesting journey, to be fair. I made a commitment that I wanted to start going into acting. So alongside yourself, I had the opportunity to go into that, and it's been a year of maturity for me. Spiritually, musically, and yeah, I can't fault this year at all, really.
Yeah, for real. So just give us a little bit on your background. You say that you got into acting this year, but music's sort of your main thing. We're in the studio right now. So how long have you been doing music for?
Music I've been doing since the age of 11. I've always been writing. With me and my sister, deodorant cans, opening the curtains, like wow, performing on the top of the window ledge. Mum would come home with the shopping, jumping back off.
That is wild. That is some wild stuff. I had ever heard anything like that, but I like it though.
Yeah, man. So from the early stages of that to then, doing a lot of greater stuff, support act, and then helping out in schools and stuff via music. So it's been a massive journey, but I've been doing it for around 15, 16 years now.
Now, one thing that's interesting with you do obviously hip hop music's your main thing, but it's different to anything else. It's very deep. It's conscious. It's probably the best word. It's probably, in many ways, considering the type of music that we hear nowadays, it's in some ways from a different era. You could argue in some ways. Is that sort of something you're very keen to bring out?
Yeah, most definitely. I just try to make sure that my sounds are like different and like versatile. When I'm writing, it's a matter of, how can I connect with this person's mom? How can I connect with this person's son? With this older person? So it took me a while to find my sound, but it's safe to say that I've clicked my sound and I've started to execute a different genre, I should say.
So is that a big thing for you then? Do you really think about the type of music and think about who you're trying to appeal to, as opposed to just getting bars that come to your head or lyrics that come to your head and just putting them together?
Definitely. For me to release something, it's a matter of, okay, how can I say something that's going to stick with Aaron for the rest of the day? So when you're out in Nando's or you're in the cinema, bro, I can't remember that, Leo. Or how can I say something that's topical to someone to go, did he actually just say that? So there is literally a science behind it, is all I can really say, and making sure that the visuals execute as well as the lyrics.
Do you think, on that point then, do you think it's an issue at the minute with modern day music, modern day hip hop? There's a lot of, less conscious rap, drill music's a big thing. What's your take on sort of like how the state of the music industry is at the minute?
To execute that, I'll say there's too much Nicki Minaj and not enough Erykah Badu's. It's mad. I think the genre has taken a good twist, but at the same time there's a negative twist as well in it. And I'll always say there's a musical battle going on now. There's definitely a warfare going on, and it's always good to have poppy videos or hip hop videos, but I always go back to the message. What is the message you're trying to portray? What is it? I see certain rap stars, trap stars doing certain songs, and it's a good thing that they turn their lives around, but the music you put out before is now encouraged other young people to take that same route. So what is your message? So my answer to that would be, it's taken a wrong twist.
For you personally, does that benefit you in some ways because of the fact that your music's different, or do you not look at it like that and think, oh, there's a bigger picture here?
Yeah, I would. That's a good question. I would say it most definitely does put me in a position where I can kind of say what I need to say, and I really want my music to be touching upon taboo subjects. I do want to touch upon these subjects. I want people to love or hate me. And I guess, yeah, it's kind of like the perfect storm.
It's interesting. So, just on that, there's one thing that we're seeing more and more nowadays is I call it viral music, which is in essence music that comes from viral people, things that are viral, and then it turns into music and it becomes a money thing. The latest one, to give an example, being 30. Coming fast, we're seeing that everywhere. What's your take on that and that type of thing?
It's stupid. I've got to say it as it is, and if people might choose to say like, "Rah, is he really saying?" Yeah, I'm saying, and the reason I say it is because it's tarnishing real homegrown music to push forward. Why is it somebody can generate such amount of views? And there's a kid at home who's probably come from a broken home, who's written a song about, losing his mum or his dad being in jail, and this is his way to execute his lifestyle. And he gets 10 views. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't resonate with me. And I just think that, we show a lot of support in the wrong areas sometimes. That's what I thoroughly believe.
Well, just to play devil's advocate on that, what would you say in terms of, because of the way how things are now, because of the fact that there's social media, because of the fact that things can just blow up very quickly, do you have to, as musicians, change your approach to things? Do you have to not necessarily conform to it, but look at it from that perspective and try and make your music viral so that you can do that? Or do you think that there's different routes for things and you can go with whatever route suits you?
No, that's a perfect question once again. For me, I would say you do have to kind of change the angle now. So I have to make sure, because there's a lot of stunters that are doing certain things in their videos to portray they have a lot of money, or there's a lot of imagery involved. I know that, okay, right, if my wording is about positivity and influencing kids, right, they like to see Lamborghinis, fast cars and nice chains. So therefore, I have to change my visuals tailored to that. So they see the cars, then they hear the lyrics. So
it's a really good point. I mean, I just want to ask you on that then, is you mentioned about it being a very much an image-driven era that we're in. Should we say social media has a big impact on that? First of all, what's your take on that, the image side of things?
Wow. I do think it's a bad thing. I think when I was younger and I got to sort of say like 20, 22, probably your age, you're a young lad. But when
Dude, 22, I'll take that.
When I got to sort of 25 onwards, I started to see more things in terms of an image that's portrayed on social media, but that's not really your lifestyle. Or, smiling faces, but deep down you're hurting inside. And this is from inboxes from artists that I know myself, or supporters that I know myself. So I just believe it's kind of what I discussed with a friend the other day, that it is definitely like a diet, and you need to really, choose carefully as to what you're putting out there, because it's like drinking poison. If I'm putting pictures of happy faces and nice holidays and jewels and fast cars, and really I'm shopping at Poundland every other day, and I've got a Nissan Micra, even though I do love Nissan Micras, you're hurting yourself, man. So live within your means and put that out there, because your lifestyle is still great.
For real, it's a great point you make there. So now to flip it on the other side, a lot of your music and just you in general, you very much focus on positivity, being a positive person. How important is that, do you think? And for anyone watching now, what sort of advice do you give them in terms of positivity? You find it difficult to be a positive person because they've got this going on in their life or this going on in their life.
I feel so energetic when you ask me that question. For me, I would say positivity for me is it all comes from, I always think about a family member or a friend. Think about use that person as the trophy. I know that my mum is the person that's my flag. I wave the flag for the Richards family. She is my flag. So when I go out, I am a reflection of how I've been raised up. Does that make sense? So I know that for me, staying positive, if I can't do it for my mum. It's about being infectious. There's a lot of dirt that's happening in this world. There's a lot of hurt. There's a lot of mindsets that aren't understanding the process. So if I can help people, I'm hoping that it will have a knock-on effect. My message to anybody that might be in a dark spurt is value your life. You've been put on here for a purpose. And if you feel that my life's rubbish, wave that flag again for your mum, right? If you don't want your life, live it for your mum, or live it for your brother, live it for your son, live it for your girlfriend. Give it to them. just live it, right? I don't want this, but I'm gonna live for them. So that's what I would say. If not, approach me.
Definitely approach Leo here. But it's another great point that you make again. I mean, you've been through a lot yourself. I mean, this isn't coming from a person who's, you know, had it rosy all throughout your life, and you've been through a lot. It's something I want to touch upon. You mentioned your mum as well. Your mum's been through a lot. I won't say. I let you talk on that. But tell me about the link between, you know, the mum and your situations you've been through and your music, and how you use music to help you as therapy.
My upbringing was, as I said, my mum was a gladiator. I remember we used to have a little. Do you remember the Rover Metros? Old school box square. You probably.
Well, you know, I'm 22, man.
So you're 22. You're young, son.
I'm not 22, but we're gonna go with that.
Literally, the Metro was probably the same size as that. The drumming booth there. My mum had 3 jobs. Me and my sister used to take back and forth to school. I never caught the bus once from primary school to secondary school. That's how much she used to be with us. So she was just a superhero. And then when I got to sort of 17, 18, is when I was coming back from work. She had a stroke. I didn't know what it was at the time, so I picked her up, put her to sleep, and then the next day she was more or less paralysed down the right hand side. So as you can imagine, growing up for me, I was just angry, questioning God, questioning myself, questioning my dad, questioning everything. To be fair, and then I found poetry. I studied a poet called Benjamin Zephaniah, who is a poet from Birmingham. And literally, I just started writing from then. Then poetry became music, and then it allowed me to hit a certain platform.
With your mum having the stroke, obviously it would have been a difficult situation for anyone. You know, did poetry, you know, give you an opportunity to vent, or did music give you the opportunity to vent even more? And is that why you went into it?
Yeah, it allowed me an opportunity to vent. I mean, fitness is always a way to acting let out sort of aggression, but the music side of things is more of an emotional release. It's more of a different connection. Music speaks a different language, so it allowed me to vent, get out, and connect with other people. That's how I see it. So yeah.
For real, I mean, just touching on music, I'm just gonna go back to music. Now, many people that you know wouldn't know this, wouldn't know your journey. You spent time as a connection with X Factor. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah. So this is a pretty interesting subject. So when I got to 16, I was doing open mic events, going to different places, London, Manchester. There'd be like 3 people in the room, but I was still treating it as if I was in an arena. I just believe visuals is a massive thing, so I was still doing what I had to do. And then I was approached by somebody who I thought was a nice person at the time. I was young and naive. Went under management with this person. And I remember he said, "Do you want to support a boy band called Union J?" And you remember? You listened to it?
I know you're talking about. I used to watch X Factor back then, yeah.
So I was like, okay, I didn't know who they were at the time, but I said, let's do this. Got to the Bottom Market in Shrewsbury, and I entered the stage. I remember going, the curtains had opened, I've gone on the stage, and I just went blank. Just completely blank, didn't know what to do, and I was like, hi, my name's Leo. And I thought, you know what, own this. DJ dropped it, I tore it down. And from then I got the opportunity to support Rough Copy. I'm not sure if you remember them. Abby Alto, a few other X Factor finalists, and also Dappy as well, which is pretty dope. And that all came from just, you know, putting my heart out there and doing open mics. But then there is a dark side to it. And that's where it's more focused more on the X Factor contestants as a whole, as opposed to the venues that I was performing at, if that makes sense.
It doesn't. Elaborate.
So the venues are always perfect. It was more of what I didn't agree with was you get a lot of people that kind of say they'd never do X Factor, I'd never do it. And then they sell themselves short. You get your old school musicians like your Ed Sheerans, who, you know, underground busker, writes at home, selling millions. Nobody liked the Ginger Kid at the start, but everybody loves him. And you get some artists, I can't say any names that I know myself, that have sold themselves short to do it for 10 minutes fame, and then nothing's came from it, and you're still under the same contract, so you can't do anything for another 5 years. It doesn't make sense. Keep it homegrown, and it's the problem with X Factor is they're literally manufacturing so much artists, putting them out, that there's no room for other young talent to come through, if that makes sense.
I feel you on that 100%, and it's a really interesting point that some people might not even factor in. Pardon the pun, by the way. But you know, it's it's an interesting point. I mean, on a serious note, I mean, how big of a problem is that, and how wary do up and coming artists need to be about not just, you know, X Factor? We're not completely throwing shade on X Factor. Just, you know, these reality shows in general. How wary do the artists need to be? Do you think?
Very wary. I would say to that, definitely. I would say, you know, just be consistent and don't always think the grass is green on the other side, because you do get some artists that have done a lot from X Factor, but it's always better being known as, you know, the underschool guy. Imagine J. Cole is a massive influence in my life. Imagine if you had a position where you did the whole X Factor, you performed at a massive arena. 95% of those people are probably there just for the show, just because it's X Factor. Now imagine if you had, I don't know, 500 supporters at a small, intimate gig, that when you move that mic away from your lips, they know every single one of your personal lyrics, one by one. The feeling is much greater.
Amazing point. And there's something that, you know, we can't sit down and talk without touching on this as well. Now, you're a man of faith. How important is your faith to you?
This is, my faith is my life. It gives me purpose, gives me meaning. I think from a younger age, I was running away from it, and I think the more I've got older, the more things that's hit me. It's kind of a surrender kind of approach, where it's like, right, I need you. I know what you need me to do. Well, I'm going to shed the message out there. So this year has been a year of openness, and I did swear on oath that I would do that. So it's interesting.
Well, on that point, I mean, you know, with faith, any religion, whatever you believe in, everyone's different. Everyone has different, you know, opinions with that. You know, obviously people, the universe as well, very much believing in that too. So, what's your sort of overall thing to say to anybody watching now about faith? You know, and what it's done for you, and you know how it's put, you know, more than anything, put you at peace with things.
I kind of see like having tattoos. I could walk in the room with like shed loads of tattoos all over my face, all over my body, and you'd have a set opinion on me. But that's that person. There's a reason why they have it. Faith for me is putting on the armour of God. It is for me wherever I go. If I'm walking down at Moss Side, Handsworth, or if I'm walking in a posh area of Birmingham, it's me. This is the person I am. The message I always give around it is, if you do feel that inside there is an element of I want to know more, feed it. What's the worst that can happen? Have a look into it. Might not be for you. Definitely go for it. Give yourself some self-peace. I believe that you do have to train the mental, and you've got to train the physical. You have to feed both, because if you leave one short, I can guarantee you things won't weigh up. So yeah, but my last message would be just definitely go for it. If you need to, just do it, man. Just do it. Don't do what I did and run for so many years. I've noticed the more I'll practice my faith now, is the more I'm more content in myself, and I'm willing to just be put on a pedestal and say, hey, this is me. Judge me for who I am. Yeah, I wear skinny jeans, but this is me.
I wear skinny jeans too, man. Skinny jeans are in. But no, and you know, just the final point. You know, it's great to see you in this space. It's great to see what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? But what's next for Leo, man? What's the next stage? Music, acting, take over the world. Talk to me. What's next?
Yeah, man. It's safe to say, acting is the platform I'm now. And it's safe to say that it's big things are gonna happen. Most 2% gonna happen. There's mixtapes coming out. Acting I'm pursuing. Tuition fees, can't say too much. But
do look out for. We'll hold that space, but that is we'll find out more about that.
And really more shows, really. In terms of levels, in terms of where I'm gonna take things to, I'm already living the dream. Whether I've got a pound in the bank or a penny in the bank, I'm living it right now. So any other thing that happens is just going to be a bonus.
I love that actually, but you know what? We can't actually have that mentioned and not speak on it real quick. So tuition fees, as I say, we won't speak too much on it, but it's a project that we've been working on. It's a drama series that will be coming out in 2019. We're not going to say what it's about, but let's. How have you felt sort of doing that?
Jeez. First of all, I just want to thank you and the team for allowing me an opportunity to do something I was hesitant to do. You've allowed, and it's not only helped in my acting, but me as a character. It's been a massive insight as to allowing me to vent, allowing me to change and go into a mindset of somebody else. It's molded me, and then I can mold back into myself. So as I said, it's opened another talent avenue, and I'm very grateful for that. But I don't want to give too much away.
We'll leave it at that. We'll leave it. But no, we're real excited about that. But listen, Leo, thank you so much for taking the time out to come and talk to me. You are an inspiration to me and to, I'm sure, many other people watching. Just keep shining, keep pursuing, and stay blessed, man. For real, thank you very much, man. Serious.